for joining the live stream or for watching the recording. Today is another session of Q&As, immigration, insurance, starting a business, finding accommodation, everything you want to know about moving to or living in the Czech Republic. One thing before people start joining, YouTube changes basically every time I do a live stream, something is different. So for example, today I could not schedule the live stream in advance. It was kind of late notice, but I couldn't do that. So I planned it for 8:05, but it's 8:04 and I've already started because there was no option of like do it the normal way. So weird. Like a lot of interesting things happened with me and YouTube already during those years. Anyway, I'm here for you today again. So please let me know your questions regarding any type of visa, residence permit, permanent residence permit, citizenship of the Czech Republic, finding accommodation, getting health insurance, everything you want to know and anything you want to know. Masalah brother for information, Mohammed Imran, thank you for joining. Please request some information, ask questions. Otherwise this will be a very boring live stream and I'll leave soon. Okay, so easy question for starters. Ahmed Hassan, hello, how are you? I'm good. That's an easy one. How are you, Ahmed? And does anyone have any more complicated questions, like why my visa was denied and stuff like that? Navindu Archana, dobré den, Jan. Dobrý den, Navindu. Dobrý večer, probably more, like good evening. Levi and Davis, for students, how much I need to show money in my bank account? Roughly 120,000 crowns or equivalent in other currencies. Ahmed Hassan, I'm great. That's one of the things you can immediately tell you're not Czech, because Czechs never say I'm great. There is always something wrong or not good or okay or so if you speak with a Czech. So not with me, I'm different. But generally. Anyway, Chamuki Bazuki, Jan, I know you're not moving to Brno, so you are living Czechia. Why do you think so? This is a live stream about people moving to the Czech Republic, not me moving abroad. Yeah, and if I was to move abroad, it would not be Brno anyway. Science PA, hello from Senegal. Hello to Senegal, from Prague. Mohammed Imran, brother, how I get Czech Republic employment visa? Oh, depends on where you're from and when you reside in. If you let me know a bit more about that, your nationality and where do you live, I will be able to tell you more, but don't have your hopes high. Navindu Arkhana, I have long-term visa valid August 31st. I want to know how to change license, how I'll change license in Czech Republic. Do you mean a driver's license, Navindu? Or some other license? Being Human 96, so that's the AI phantom from the previous live stream. Can I apply visa for my spouse if I get an unskilled job in Czech Republic? Yes, you can. There is just a difference. There are two types of family reunification. One is a long-term visa. She can apply, or I don't know actually if you're a male or female, but your spouse can actually apply for that anytime. There is no time limit, but they will not be able to work under that. And you only need to show that you have high enough balance in your bank account. The other option is a long-term residence permit with the family reunification purpose of stay. And for that, you don't need to show that you have money in your bank account, but your salary, monthly salary, must be high enough. So that might potentially be a problem, but with a low skilled job or unskilled jobs, but usually you also get accommodation sorted for free or for very cheap from the company. So we've done it many times and it's usually okay. Plus it allows your spouse to work here. So the residence permit might be a better option if you meet the requirements though. Khalif Soja or Soya Socha, I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry Khalif. How can I submit my visa application for a 2-year work permit from Qatar? And how can I get my documents translated in Czech from Qatar? I'll start with translation to Czech. There are 2 ways. Either you find someone in Qatar who can do that, but that must be an official certified translator. So the only way how you can find it is that you contact the embassy and they recommend someone, because sometimes the embassy can verify the translation, but if they cannot, it must be done by the translator. So there must be like a stamp and this like round thingy and Czech colored ribbons and all that. The other option is to have someone in the Czech Republic send it here, get it translated here, and then have it sent back to you. As for submitting your visa application, that's the complicated part. In Qatar, I don't think there are any quotas, so it's at least possible, but it depends on the capacity of the embassy and you need to follow the instructions of the embassy. If you had to apply, for example, from India or Pakistan, there is basically 0 chance you can get an appointment. Qatar is better if you've been living there for at least 2 years or if you have passport from Qatar, but other than that, pretty difficult. Being human, I mean dependent visa. Okay. How? Well, okay, if you have a long-term visa and you want to switch to a long-term residence permit, you can generally do it 90 days before the visa expires. And then you collect all the required documents, go to the Ministry of the Interior, submit the application, and then you wait. If it's close to expiration of your visa, you can go get a bridging visa, so that allows you to stay here and stay here. Basically, you can travel as well, but it's primarily for you to have a proof that you're legally staying in the Czech Republic while processing your application. And then once approved, you go give your fingerprints, they take a photo of you, digitalize your signature, and then 2-3 weeks later, you get the residence card. But it's also linked to your spouse's residence card, so it might be a bit more complicated than I make it sound now, but I would need to know more details to tell you more like specific information. Mohammed Imran, I'm Indian, but I'm now working in Kuwait. And what was the question there? Well, as an Indian, I would probably choose a different country to move to, because if you have to apply in India, you will never apply, because unless you get a blue card job with a bachelor's degree and at least 60-something thousand crowns a month, if you get any other job, then you cannot get an appointment in India unless your employer is registered in one of the programs, and then still it will take a very long time. If you're in Kuwait, you could potentially apply there if the Czech embassy there accepts applications, if you've been living there for at least 2 years, but then it depends. I would say it's similar to Qatar. It depends on the availability of the embassy and their scheduling system, and the question is if you will ever get an appointment. Then Sheikh Mohammed Anas wrote a question and then deleted that, backed up. Navendu Arkhana, driving license. Where is the driving license from? If it's, yeah, let me know where the driver's license is from, but let's say if it's from India, you cannot exchange it for a Czech one. You will have to go through a driver's school in the Czech Republic. Vasif Khan, I am the sponsor of my wife's long-term 1-year visa. I have affidavit and docs ready. Should I also write a support letter of how much I need my wife to join me here in Czech? We don't do that. I don't think it makes much sense. The only potential problem with family reunification is if you've been living here for 5 years, for example, or 3 years or 4 years, whatever, and your wife has been living the whole time there and you didn't really visit each other, then the ministry could question if your marriage is real or if you're not really like in love, let's say, and she's just trying to get a Czech visa right now. So in that case, it might be useful to write a letter. But other than that, we basically never do it. Ahmed Hassan, if I need to ask about procedures for the renovation of my visa, can I visit you in your office? Are you in Prague too? Yes, we're in Prague too, close to IP Pavlova. Basically, we're close to IP Pavlova, just across the two big roads. But you can easily get to us from museum as well, Náměstí Míru and Karlovo Náměstí. So all the lines of the metro are covered, walking distance. So yes, but please make an appointment in advance, because we all have appointments booked at least 1 week in advance. So if you stop by without an appointment, it's possible no one would be able to attend to you. So it's always best to contact us and schedule an appointment and then come for the appointment. Sheikh Mohammed Anas. I'm living in Prague from last 3 years. I want to know what is the current process for changing employment. I have employee visa from last 3 years now. How should I change my employer? Do you have an employee card or a blue card? Because blue card is generally given for 3 years now. So if you say 3 years, might potentially be a blue card. If you don't have a blue card, you have an employee card, let me know and I will tell you what to do to change your employer. Vasif Khan, should support letter be descriptive or precise for long-term visa? Well, again, if I would probably leave it for the ministry to request something, or if you think there will be a problem with you staying separate in different countries for too long, and if you visited each other many times or something and you want to write a letter, I would do it, but it must be helpful. So you should not write a letter saying, yeah, in 5 years we met once, here is the flight ticket. That will probably not help the application. But if you visited her 10 times and then every day you call each other and you support you provide log of all your calls for the last 5 years and you own a property in the country of origin together, then these are things that should be mentioned in the letter if you want to write a letter. But if you only saw each other once, I would probably not write a letter about that. I have long-term visa purpose of study, how to change my driving license here. Sri Lanka driving license. I would need to see it because I'm not familiar with Sri Lankan documents, but most likely you will not be able to change it for a Czech one. You will need to go through the driver school because there are two agreements basically. One is Vienna Convention and the other one is Hague, I think. Vienna and I don't know the other. And if you want to be able to exchange it, it must have the same format as the Czech one. So the easiest thing for you to do is find someone who has a Czech driver's license, your colleague or a student, friend or whoever. Look at yours, look at theirs, and if they look the same, you can exchange it. If they look different, you most likely cannot. Because you can only exchange it if they follow the same guidelines, and if they follow the same guidelines, they look the same. So that would be the easiest to do. Kwasim Yahuni, is Prague a good city for living? Depends on what you're looking for. Generally, if I speak generally, then yes, because it's safe. It's big enough to have everything you might want, from restaurants, bars, hospitals, schools, everything. But on the other hand, it's still kind of small, so it's not like completely anonymous, which for some people might be a problem. For some people it's good, but that's just how it is. The quality of healthcare is good if you can actually get seen by the doctor. Schooling system is good. So generally, for sure, yeah, I think it's a good place to live. On the other hand, depends on your requirements and expectations. CB76, děkuju for these live streams. My pleasure. You're welcome. I'm from Britain and planning to apply for a long-term visa. My reason for staying will be a job offer I have received. Will this work instead of employment card? It kind of depends. I guess, guys, you hate me say it, like it depends. but really in Czech immigration, and especially live streams like this, it's very difficult for me to answer if I have if I have a very limited amount of information. But maybe one thing I will ask you here, if you can reply below in the comments or the chat or however it's called. What kind of offer is that? Is it an employment offer that they will be responsible for your social security, healthcare, income tax, and you will be sitting in their office like full time? Or is it like a freelance offer that you will be invoicing them and they will not be responsible for anything? You will be just like a standard English teacher, freelance teacher, where you have your clients and then you invoice them and you're not really an employee. That's very important. And then we can take it from there. Goku, hello Jan, hope you're good. I have not yet received my long-term visa. For others, applied for masters even after 110 days. Are they holding approved visa or is it bad? Well, this it's very hard to say for me if it's gonna be denied or approved, because it depends on what documents you submitted, what was your story, if you had an interview, what you answered during the interview, what's your motivation to study here, what's the school as well, because if you applied for other type of visa, it's probably not an accredited program, and hence there might be potentially some other problems as well. So very difficult to say. Generally speaking, the ministry does not really care about any legal deadlines. So for the student, no, but that's the other. So they have 60 to 90 days. There was Christmas during the approval period. So 2 weeks, nothing was happening. So 110 days is still kind of what you can expect from them. So it does not necessarily mean anything. It might still be approved. It might still be denied. Yeah, not sure if this is what you wanted to hear. Anyway, Hussein Bhati, hello Jan, hope you're doing well. Can you guide me the conditions of doing full driving course or half? Honestly, I don't really know much about that. I've had my driver's license for years, and we do not really provide it as a service, like help with the driver's school, because what's there to help with? Like, call them and what's your prices, and okay, we have someone who would like to go through the school. So we do exchanges of driver's licenses, and we help people, like when they finish the driver's school, we help them to go to the authority and request the driver's license. But that's kind of all I know. So I cannot really tell you much about the driver's school and their requirements, unfortunately. Fedi Gedira, hi Jan, I graduated last year from Masters in Czech, but I'm back to my home country now. Can I reapply for a student visa, then directly switch to job seeking visa? Or I can apply directly from embassy for job seeking visa. I don't have the visa, that's why anymore. Unfortunately, if you left the Czech Republic, you cannot apply for the job seeker visa anymore, because you can only switch to that if you've just finished your university, you're still under the student residence permit, then you can switch to the job seeker. Even now, if you get a new student visa, you cannot just switch to a job seeker. You could, but you would need to finish the degree. So let's say you got bachelor's and now you come for master's, then when you finish master's, you can apply for the job seeker, but not in any other way. You've lost that option when you left. Sheikh Mohammed Anas, sir, I have employment card. Yeah, okay, that was the change of employer, right? I wanted to say great for you, but let me see. I'm leaving Prague, want to know the current process, changing employer. Okay, good. Scrolling back there. So changing employer for an employee card holder. Basically first, okay, there are 2 or 3 important deadlines. First, that you only have 60 days to find a new employer and report it to the ministry once you finished your job. So ideally, you should not quit your job until you have the new job offer secured and you've started working on the process. So the first step is finding a new employer which is willing to help you with the process. Then the second step will be getting the vacancy number. And third step will be reporting the change of employer to the Ministry of the Interior. Then somewhere around there, you should give your leave-in notice. And and wait for the leave-in notice to finish. Wait for the approval from the ministry, and then hopefully everything is aligned and you can switch the jobs. But first thing, you need to find a new employer. Second, you must get vacancy number from them. Third, then you report the change of employer to the Ministry of the Interior. You cannot be unemployed for more than 60 days. And the start of the job, of the new job, must be at least 30 days after you submitted the change of employer to the Ministry of the Interior. We have a blog post about that on our website, movetoprague.com. If you go to the blog section, it's there. Or if you search for a video on my channel about this topic, it's there as well. The rules are still the same. Kalif Soja, my friend, also received a 3-month seasonal job. Must he translate in documents into Czech? Submission be via VFS or the embassy? Well, we do not do... First of all, I think that the seasonal job visa is the biggest scam out there, so we don't deal with that at all. But short-term visas are usually applied for through the VFS, where the VFS works. Where it doesn't work, then you apply through the embassy. We don't really deal with short-term visas much, so I cannot really tell you if they would require a translation for that. Generally, they don't require translations for for short-term visas, but potentially in this case they could, because at least some of the documents will have to be in Czech anyway, like the employment contract. So I would better translated, but again, we don't deal with short-term visas much, and especially not with the seasonal one. Moksalama, I'm a student and will graduate this year. My question is there a job search visa? What is the duration of the visa? Yes, there is a job seeker residence permit, which gives you 9 months to either find a job and switch to an employee card, or start your own business and switch to the business residence permit. But it only applies if you study an accredited program. So you must be a proper student, not the other student. And you must submit it as soon as you graduate, when your visa or your student residence permit is still valid. That's what I was answering before, that once you let the student visa expire or you leave or something like that, you lose the right for the job seeker residence permit. Kalif Soja, please reply to me. I definitely did. So hopefully now all good. Hussein Bati, as a student, can I do Bolt taxi in Czechia? Yes, technically yes. Most of the Bolt couriers we've done work as freelancers, so you would need to get a trade license for specific trades, and then you can do it. It might be a bit different if you want to just deliver food, or if you want to drive with people, if you want to be like taxi. So there are differences, but technically you can. But you still need to fulfill the purpose of your stay, which means studies. So you need to study primarily, and if you manage to drive and make money on top of that, that's fine. If you work that much that you would not be going to school and passing exams, that would be a problem. So last 3 questions. CB76, my friend has a small business and he has offered to employ me. He usually takes on people who are self-employed, but he has offered me a contract as an employee. Which would you advise? I have no relevant qualification or work history. It kind of depends. I'm sorry, but it really does. Definitely an employee card is better for you because it's easier for you to get it, easier for you to renew it. Your employer pays all the social security, healthcare, income tax, all that. On the other hand, the company must be solid. So if he primarily hires freelancers, that's already a bit questionable because the company must have like a physical office, because if you're an employee, you must have some workplace, so if they just have a virtual office because everyone works from home, that will not work. They should also not have a virtual business address. If they have an office but they have a virtual business address, so their business address is not in the office, that could also be a problem. And then also your friend will have to pay all the social security, healthcare, income tax on your behalf. So they need to come with that it will be kind of a cost for them. If they're fine with that, then the employee card is definitely the better way for you. Also kind of depends on for how long, or like how do you see the cooperation. If you see it as like 5 years, both sides, like they want you for 5 years, you want to work with them for 5 years, you're like good friends, good job, everything, good. If it's something temporary, or there might be potentially some problems that they change their mind or you change your mind, might not be the best. On the other hand, the business visa, if you apply as a freelancer, if you work for them as a freelancer, that's more complicated for you the whole time, basically. Because first, getting the business visa is a bit tricky because you cannot have one employer, you should have more, or clients. They are not your employer officially. And you must have a reason to like move here to the Czech Republic for that job, client, work, whatever. So it's a bit more complicated to get. Then you're also responsible for your own taxes, social security, healthcare. Renewals are more complicated. On the other hand, it gives you more flexibility. You can work in different fields, you can work for different companies, you can work on yourself completely. So hopefully that gives you at least some idea. Mutabazi patients, if I come in Czech through seasonal work visa, will I get the temporary visa when my seasonal work visa finished? Seasonal work visa is the biggest scam I've ever seen in Czech immigration, and until now no one has been able to convince me otherwise. So I would definitely not recommend applying for that, but if you want to do so, you cannot switch to anything else from that. You could potentially do a blue card, but that's not very likely if you're coming under the seasonal visa. So if you get a short-term seasonal visa, you cannot do anything. You have to leave after 3 months and you need to be out for 3 months. If you come under the long-term visa, the maximum validity of the seasonal visa is 9 months. So if you come for 6 months, you can potentially extend it for 3 months, but then you need to leave anyway. So yeah. Fort Mexican. Hello, sir. I want to work as food delivery driver in Czech Republic. Can you arrange work permit for me? I'm already in Europe. We don't really look for jobs for people, so we cannot help with this. Abby V. Hi, Jan. How much in Czech koruna do you think is reasonable rent in, say, Prague 8 or Prague 15? I just want to gauge in the rent prices I'm looking at are too cheap to be true or too expensive. If something looks too cheap to be good, or too good to be real, or whatever is the saying, that usually is. I would say it depends, of course, on what you're looking for, the quality and everything, but a reasonable budget for a studio in Prague in general would be 17 to 20,000 crowns, including everything. So then it depends if you live in Prague 8, depends, because Prague 8 is Karlín, right? Also, and that's very fancy place, very hipster place. So the rents there are not really cheap. Prague 15, I don't even know where it is. But that seems cheaper, sounds cheaper. So maybe like around 17, 18,000 you could find something, but 20 is like including everything what you should generally expect. So if you find something for 12 including everything, there must be something. So it's either not a studio and it's like a business space and you cannot use it for any official immigration purposes, or it's very bad condition or very small or both combined, or it's not real. Anything below 15,000 crowns, including everything, is probably not real unless you are super lucky and you will be finding like 5,000 other people. 15 to 17, potentially somewhere, but most reasonable would be 17 to 20 for a studio. So these are the last questions. Nabarash, Lukman, Nabarash, and Fort Mexican, and then or Abby as well. So I will comment on Abby. Yeah, and when you say 15, 17 for everything, what do you mean by everything? I mean rent and utilities or common charges. There might be different things going into that, but generally what you pay is rent, which goes to the landlord, and then you pay some like common charges for the building, which can be water consumption or like the elevator fee and stuff like that. And then you usually have like electricity and gas, which is sometimes separate, so you need to like pay it yourself and get registered with the providers directly. Sometimes it's included in the rent or in some of the common charges. So I mean like all these. I don't mean internet, that's usually extra all the time, but yeah, if I say everything, I mean this, like rent plus utilities and the common charges. So, Nabarash. Hello, sir, from Nepal. Hello to Nepal. Are you talking about United States or other countries, sir? I'm talking about the Czech Republic. Prague, heart of Europe, heart of the universe. Lukman, Ahmeri, sorry for mispronouncing. I have applied for a student visa from India and my first study semester has already passed. I'm done with the embassy interview last month. How long should I expect to get the visa? Hard to say. Hard to say. Interesting that they did the interview still. Usually if you do the interview and you answer everything properly and well, then the decision should come pretty swiftly. The longer it takes, the higher the chances of denial. But I cannot tell you exactly when it's gonna be because I have no further information about your case, and even if I did, would be still just guessing. And Fort Mexican, thanks for reply, sir. My pleasure. Abby, my pleasure as well. Get in touch if you need more information or check the channel. I have a playlist of videos just about accommodation in the Czech Republic, finding accommodation, the prices, all that. So you might find it useful as well. And guys, that's it for today. And thank you very much for joining. And I mentioned who will be the last question because I usually do these live streams for 20 minutes and it's been 35 almost now. So I need to go. But come next time, I do live streams every Monday and Thursday and I'll be happy to answer the questions next time. So guys, thank you very much again and I'll see you on Thursday, Monday, until the end of the world. Good night. Bye-bye.